Hi, my name is Riri Dirja, and sometimes my students call me Miss Riri. And welcome to my crib, aka my bed. Yeah, welcome to my online class, ladies and gentlemen. As a teacher, it's my job to educate people about history so they can think more critically. And today, let's talk about the history of human sacrifice. Can you see my slide? Yes, the history of human sacrifice, and why it has nothing to do with demon in the past. And instead of always blaming demon for our stupidity, since we know nothing about how the world works, let's start blaming ourselves as Homo sapiens, shall we? So, long before there were churches, mosques, or scriptures, there was thunder. Yes. Imagine standing in an open field thousands of years ago. There are no buildings taller than trees, and there was no electricity. There was no science, no weather forecast. The sky turns black in the middle of the day, and then thunder shakes the ground beneath your feet. Rain does not come for months. Then suddenly, it floods. You do not understand air pressure. You do not understand evaporation or climate cycles. Understand only this: something powerful is above you. Something is really angry at you. So early humans did not create gods because they were foolish. They created gods because they need answers. And back in the days, death was everywhere. A child could be alive in the morning and dead by nightfall from a fever no one could explain. Women died giving birth, and then men died in hunting accidents. Back in the days, there was no germ theory, there was no medical science, there was no concept of random mutation. And if someone died suddenly, it was not random, it meant something. The gods were not sending a message. Religion at its birth was not about heaven or salvation. It was not about survival, it was about asking the sky, what do you want from us? And once you believe the sky wants something, you begin to give. At first, the gifts were simple. People in the past offer fruit, grain, and sometimes animal blood, right? Animals were killed as offerings. I'm going to show you the animal sacrifice here. Alright, so basically animals were killed as offerings because animals were valuable, and now this ritual and tradition still exist and being practiced by some modern people in certain religions. But in times of crisis like famine, a plague, invasion, the logic of our ancestors disappeared. If small offerings did not work, perhaps the gods demanded something greater. The most valuable thing in any tribe back in the days was not gold, it was life. And the most precious life was often a child. Yes, a child. And I'm going to show you the Abraham and Isaac. Can you see that? Like a child sacrifice. And I know it's easy to call ancient people monster, but imagine the situation from inside their world. A drought lasts for a year, and then crops fail, and then the children were starving, the river dried up. Then elders whisper that the gods are angry, and a priest say he has received a sign, and the sign is this: the gods demand offering. The survival of the entire tribe depends on obedience. And if you're a parent, of course you were terrified. You loved your child, right? But you also believe that if nothing is done, every child will die. In that moment, morality becomes distorted by fear, and you tell yourself, this pain will save everyone. And this is how human sacrifice becomes possible. Not because humans do not know love or because humans were cruel, but because fear made them do not know how to reason. And that rituals or that habit was the reason why sometimes modern humans still sacrifice animals into this world. It started from that history, from fear from the unknowing, fear that you're not gonna survive in this world. Good morning, everyone. So it's currently 12:11 p.m. and I'm gonna have class at 2 and at 4. One of my students will get an interview for her scholarship, so I'm gonna help her with that, and my other student will have speech competitions. I will help her to prepare for her speech. And today I'm having this matcha. Before work, I'm going to assess my students' writing and reading this book, The Kabbalah of Envy. It's really good. If you ask me what is your favorite book, I would say I like Ise. That's my favorite book. I like Ise, I like philosophy, I like history book. I like novels, but I think the novels that talks about suffering and meaning and about real humans' life, like Dostoevsky, Leo Tolstoy, Viktor Frankl. But I don't think like Viktor Frankl is a novel. It's more like his own experience, right? So this type of novels I like. And this one is the bookmark. I made it by myself. It's made of tarot cards, and sometimes I give it to my students. I make a lot of bookmark. I'm planning like to sell them, but I don't know when. So yeah, let's get started. Hi guys, so I'm going to teach today, and this is my outfit. So I'm wearing this 1460 Dr. Martens. These are my bags. So in Aztec Empire, people believed the sun needed human blood to continue rising every day, and they thought the universe was fragile if they stopped sacrificing people. They believed the world would end. And for them, sacrifice was not murder, it was a sacred duty to keep the cosmos alive. I'm going to show you like the Aztec tradition. And yeah, in Mesoamerica, the Aztecs believed the sun itself needed nourishment, and without blood, it would not rise. And without sacrifice, the universe would collapse into darkness. And let's talk about ancient Carthage. In ancient Carthage, there is evidence that children were sacrificed during times of extreme crisis like war or famine. This is very painful, especially for people who live in this modern world. But most historians believed these acts happened during desperate times, and people thought giving the most precious thing would save the rest of the community. And again, this was not about demons, it was about their fear and about their survival. And over time, many societies stopped practicing human sacrifice, and this happened as ideas about morality keeps changing and keeps evolving. People begin to believe that every human life had value, and then laws become stronger. Laws also adapted and evolved. Let's talk about the Abrahamic religion. In the story of Abraham, there is an important moment. Abraham is told to sacrifice his son, but in the end, God exchanged it with a sheep or a ram. This story shows a shift from human sacrifice to animal sacrifice. It teaches that human life should not be taken as an offering. And this was a big moral step forward. So the next question is, where did the idea that sacrifice is demonic come from? The idea mostly came later when new religions or moral systems replaced old ones. They often described older practices as evil or influenced by demons. But historically, sacrifice can be explained without demons. It came from human fear, belief, and the need to feel in control of life. And now let's talk about some of animal sacrifice. In some certain religion, in Judaism, there is korban. So I think like most people think that the word korban comes from Islamic belief, but in reality it derives from Judaism. Now let's talk about korban. So in religions like Islam, Judaism, and Hinduism, they still practice animals sacrifice. They symbolized repentance, thanksgiving. In many traditional societies, meat was rare and expensive, and a ritual sacrifice allowed the whole community to eat together. It created unity and fairness. Today, many people criticize animal sacrifice, but at the same time, modern society kills billions of animals every year for food. The difference is that modern killing happens in factories, far from public view, and there is no ritual, no prayer, no reflection. But in contrast, ancient sacrifices were public and meaningful. People knew an animal died, and they treated the animals as sacred. But does this mean animal sacrifice should continue forever? Well, that depends on your belief and your interpretation. Some religious people believe rituals can change over time, and others believe tradition must be preserved. Because history does not decide who is right and who is wrong, it only explains why these practices began and how some still exist. And in the end, human sacrifice was not caused by demons. It was caused by human fear, limited knowledge, and the desire to protect the community and the humanity itself. As human understanding grew, moral values also changed and developed. Human sacrifice mostly disappeared, and animal sacrifice became a symbolic replacement in many cultures. Instead of judging the past only with anger, we should try to understand it. And ancient people were not monsters, they were just human beings trying to survive in a world they did not understand. As knowledge grew, morality grew too, and that is part of human development. And the history of sacrifice shows something important about humanity. When people feel powerless, they try to give something up to regain control. And sacrifice is about giving something valuable in hope of safety. So yeah, sacrifice is not a story about demons. It's a story about us, about human, about fear, belief, the long journey of moral growth in human civilization. Hi everyone, I am back. I just finished teaching today, and I think before unpacking my stuff, I want to make like what's in my bag video, especially as an English teacher. And yeah, every day I bring two bags, and the first one is this one. This is how I wear it. And the second one is this bag. This is where I put my laptop and my camera, as well as my books and my iPad. So yeah, I bring a lot of books. Okay, so let's unpack it. Anyways, talking about my bags, most of my bags are bespoke. This is like another bag that I have. It's made of leather, good quality of leather, since I live in Yogyakarta and there are a lot of leather artists here, or leather artists or craftsmen, let's say. Basically, the one who makes this bag makes leather bags for rider, especially like Harley Davidson rider. And I was like, can you make like the bag for me? I love art. I love something that has good quality. I'm not really into luxury bag. So yeah, let's see what's inside to my bag, ladies and gentlemen. So in the first one, I have this pouch. It's where I put my lipstick. Currently I use this lipstick. It's from Guerlain. That's the lipstick that I use. I always bring like 2 cassettes, and of course Queen is always with me, and the DJs. This phone, this Nokia phone, and the reason why I'm still using flip phone, because I do not like the design of iPhone. My last iPhone is iPhone 5. After Steve Jobs passed away, I no longer buy a new iPhone, because again, I love the design of iPhone, and before analog becomes trending, I've been living that analog life for so long. Because you know what, I am actually a boomer who is trapped in millennials body. And yeah, this is my phone. I always like tell my student to focus on the study, to focus on chasing the dream. And I do not think that it's okay when you motivate your students, or when you ask your students to touch the grass, to live at the moment, but you focus on your phone. So I just want to be like a good role model for my students. All right, next stuff. This pouch, it's where I put my pen, but it's for my students' pens, because sometimes my students forget to bring their own pen, you know, Gen Z. This is like my own pen. It's from Parker. I always like invest in good quality of pen. This is like the first ballpoint. It's from, can you guys see it? Yeah, hopefully you guys can see it. It's from Parker. It's also like from Parker pen, and my pens are way more expensive than my phone. I also have like fountain pen. So my fountain pen here, it's from Schaefer. Yeah, I forget how to pronounce that. This one is also my fountain pen. Again, if you asked me, oh, why you have high quality of pen? Because again, I am an English teacher. I need to make teaching classy, cutesy, and demure, I guess. And the next stuff that I have is this microphone. The reason why I always bring this, because sometimes I have speaking tests with my students. I need to record the audio. My wallet, and I also have like my perfume. Currently I use this brand. It's a local brand, and it smells like wood. And of course, the next thing that I bring as a teacher is paper, journal. So sorry, I think I need to put it here. And this is like the paper that I have, and the reason why I make it fancy, because again, I want to inspire my students to write more. Sometimes I still like send letters to my students and write poems to them. So these are my fancy paper. Yes, I put a lot of money in my job, in my teaching, because I'm proud of my job, and I'm happy that, you know, I can inspire other people, and I can inspire my students, I can help them succeed in life. So basically that's what I bring as an English teacher.